Yeah, so just prepare to.
It'll be great.
It'll be perfect.
Y'all motherfuckers don't watch us play throughout the year, to tell you the truth. I'm gonna be real with you, and I don't care if I get fined.
I got my sweet jerk with them.
The train is off the track.
I feel like you can't just like jump through Neptune and be okay.
Just prepare to.
What the show needs is more dogs and bears and chickens and stuff.
Yeah, so just prepare to be awash in unbeatable goodness.
Welcome, Pacers fans. You were listening to the Undebeatables, your semi-weekly Pacers podcast. This is episode 552-ish. What did we land
I think
on?
you have to say ish for the rest of the shows we ever do.
No,
It'll get
this is
worked out.
This is 552, period, right?
Period. Yes.
Okay. Coming to you from Indianapolis, Indiana, I'm your host, Joey Gafrida, the man behind the dials and season ticket holder. Former season ticket holder. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll
COVID
have to
got
talk about that. We're going to have to talk about it.
Yeah, we can talk about that. This show is going to be sort of a little free-form discussion. I'm a little out of the loop, and Colson's got all the answers. He's got the inside track. He's got all the answers to all my questions. Are they the right ones? You probably should let us know via Twitter. But
in a nice way.
Sure, in a nice way.
In a civil manner.
But joining me this week is one of our analysts, John Colson, still coast to coast, like buttered toast.
I'd like to just shout out this week. Well, okay, sorry. What is up, Pacer Nation? What is up, Undebeatables? I'd like to shout out the Doctor and the Enforcer. The moment they leave, suddenly we do ish shows. I don't know.
Yep.
And we have 5-minute intros where we we lack focus when it's just the two of us. But that's part of it, the charm, I hope.
I do like those guys. Those guys are great.
Yeah.
And before we get to any further in the show, we'd like to remind you that this show is brought to you by you. If you head over to patreon.com/undebeatables, you can support us for as little as $1 per month.
I just want to let the fans out there know that they're not Patreons. I am working on the next anniversary pod right now. As those things get tightened up, there will be lots of versions that you will be allowed to just listen to. There will be access to you if you're a Patreon. And if you're not a Patreon but you want to support us, it's the holidays. Go buy something off Amazon. We'd love it.
Using our link, right?
That's what I mean.
Okay.
I mean, we don't get, if you just go to Amazon, we don't get anything.
Right.
And also, they have plenty of money. So just go through our link and give us a few of their scraps. Come on.
Right. The referral link is on our website. And hopefully in the show notes. Colson, is it in the show notes this time?
Hey, look, I'm getting better at it. Once you told me. I do it like 75% of the time now once you told me.
All right. Well, this show, so man, I've been out of the loop a little bit with the little one here, and really, I've seen many of the games, but I wanted to talk a little bit. I was like shocked at some little things. We started this discussion last show. We've been like scoring off inbounds. We've been reliably getting the ball in. And it was like a little thing, but it still stuck out to me as like, this is a difference between this team and the team the previous years. I don't remember Vogel's team having that problem, but like the McMillan and the Nate's years, they had trouble just getting the dang ball in. We're scoring. We're stealing their inbounds. Like was it at the end of the Toronto game? There was like we like stole their inbound to basically to almost cap the game off.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is a little thing, but
Well, that's a TJ McConnell special. I mean, he's been doing that since he arrived. He loves stealing the end ball. He's just so pesky. But I don't believe that was McConnell. I think that was like Keelan Martin or something like that.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And I think he's just learning from McConnell. Like I think they're all talking about putting pressure on the ball. I think you're talking about just a couple times this week there were. I mean, you're probably talking about lots of things, but I can remember several just cutting to the basket for layups from, throwing the ball inbounds under the basket. Just an easy 2 points. Yeah, that's nice, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great. I tell you what, like so that's one example. And I think I've admired Carlisle's fearlessness with lineups. I guess maybe because it's Carlisle, I just get the sense that the things he's, the sort of, things he's doing are going to pay off, like later in the season or next year or what, down the line, they're going to pay off. Like letting Chris Duarte, play, start and finish games. Like he's performing. His numbers are great. Like he's learning as he goes, of course. But having the fearlessness to do that, and I mean, I'm assuming that his leash is really long, so he's earned that, to do kind of whatever he wants because he gets the results. So
you're talking about the rookie's leash, 8-Track's leash, or you're talking about Carlisle's leash?
Well, both, I guess. I mean, mostly Carlisle, but
okay, because I was going to say, like, Carlisle traditionally is not like to play rookies.
Right?
Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons we drafted, Chris Duarte, Chris Duarte, aka 8-Track, because he was a veteran, essentially by the time we got him, 24 years old, a guy who's played 4 years, who knows how to play basketball, has a feel for the game, and he's come in and looked like a third-year player out the gate. He's in the conversation of Rookie of the Year. I mean, there are a couple guys that have some splashier numbers, but he's still in that conversation in the top 3 or 4 of best rookies. Carlisle, I think, is pleased to have him. I don't know, and I think I don't know if he would have had the same amount of minutes. I actually know for sure he wouldn't have had the same amount of minutes if T.J. Warren was healthy. But I think what the Rook has done with this time is earned himself some guaranteed minutes, even when T.J. Warren comes back. He's going to be a part of this rotation because he's just been so solid.
And what do you feel about like Carlisle's sort of specifically in the sort of coaching review? Where do you give him? What grade do you give him this season as opposed to? And really, I guess against the performance last year of Bjorkgren. Where do you?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It sort of becomes, a grade on a curve at that point. I mean, if I don't compare him to Bjorkgren, I'm going to be a little more critical. I have a ton of respect for Carlisle because of what he did for this franchise, navigating the teams, very successful teams that went to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then navigating the season of the Brawl and making that team competitive. Reggie's last season as well, getting to the second round. He also has talked about how much he's grown since then. He can be a little bit of a prickly guy. He kind of rubs some people the wrong way. He's learned that about himself. He's learned to get the kind of assistant coaches in there to that he needs to help kind of make all that stuff work. I think he's a better coach than he was. He's a better leader than he was. He went to Dallas. He got Dirk Nowitzki an MVP. I mean, Nowitzki got an MVP, but he was there while it happened, and he also won a championship with Dallas, and he was for a while the longest tenured coach anywhere, I think, for
outside of Popovich.
Oh, outside of Pop, right? Exactly. And I think we've said this way before he was our coach that he's one of the 5 or 6 coaches in the league that matters. His ability to manage a game, his ability to continue to experiment and get better and work for the larger overall good of the team makes a difference. And am I concerned? Yes. Are there some losses that I'd love back? Are there some inexplicable showings from this team? Are there some things that just absolutely don't make sense sometimes where we come out and we don't look prepared, we don't look ready? Yes. This team should be above 500, I think, for the amount of talent it has. And so I would give him a B minus right now. I think that this team is continuing to get better, and I think we're a playoff team, but we've dug ourselves a little bit of a hole. I would have liked to be 500 or a couple over at this point in the season. Now we're entering a very easy section of our season where we play most of our games at home. This is going to be a December to remember. We're going to have this conversation moving into January of a team that's got a ton of wins. But because we started in a hole, it's not going to be enough to be, probably in the top 4. So we're going to really have to pull something together for a tough back third of the schedule. We had our strength of schedule to start the season was one of the hardest in the NBA, if not the hardest. And that's easing up. So I'm trying to give him some, hey, this is a new coach, a new team stuff. But I still I've had some issues with some of the stuff that's going on. So I'm going to give him a solid B minus. Now, if I judge him against Bjorkgren last year, and if I also give him the I trust Carlisle because he's been here before and he's also won a championship and I think he's one of the coaches that matter, I'm probably giving him a B plus.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I get that.
I just was so nervous when this team came out in the first 4 games and looked exactly like the team that Bjorkgren had coached. It was undisciplined, turning the ball over, scoring at will, but still losing games down the stretch. And that was our entire season last year, and it was frustrating to all get out. We had no toughness. We played no defense. And I thought, what's going on here? I thought we brought in a real coach. And as you've seen from those 4 games to now, what are we at game 20? They say that it takes 20 games to, Donnie Walsh always said that you got to take 20 games to see where you're at. And also statistically, the stats don't really matter until around game 20 to predict what you're going to be at the end of the season. And so I think we're starting to see now around game 20 that we are a team that can compete. We are a team that belongs in these games, and that I can forgive him for some of those willy-nilly games that it was like terrible flashbacks and PTSD from the season before. I'm starting to see a team that I like to root for. We talked last Monday about managing LeVert. He's come back. He wasn't there at the beginning of the season. Now we've got to figure out how he fits in. It looked like it was going to work early, and then he seemed to be stopping the ball, and now we're figuring out how to make that work. Harper mentioned the week before that with Miles Turner goes this team, that you kind of know what you're going to get from Sabonis and Brogdon and McConnell. And if Miles Turner's going to have a big game, we're going to win. And if he's quiet, it doesn't have to be big points, but it has to be defense and rebounding, or it's got to be big points and less rebounding, or whatever. He just has to make an impact, ideally on both sides of the ball, because he usually makes an impact defensively, but not always on the boards, which is a part of defense in my mind. And I think that Carlisle's working on that relationship and on that dynamic and on his confidence, just in the way that he's running that first quarter lineup, where he's starting Miles Turner, even though that it's controversial because people think we can't run 2 big guys. But then he's taking out Sabonis and letting Miles Turner end out that first quarter and letting him be the sole center by himself, and hold down a run and gun, more of a free-flowing and defensive unit. So I think he's working on that. There's a lot of stuff that he's putting in. You're right. Letting the rookie take some of these big shots. Letting the rookie make some of these mistakes. You see the rookie do stuff all the time that you could get away with in college that you can't now. And he's figuring that stuff out lightning quick because he's super smart. But he's letting him make those mistakes right now. I think Carlisle is doing these things, and that, ideally in March we're playing our best basketball.
Right.
And so in that sense, I give him a B+. Because I'm trusting what he's done in the past, and I appreciate kind of where he's going with this. I'm just mad that it's not started better. So I guess if you average the B+ and the B-, he's getting a solid B.
Okay.
How do you feel
All right.
about that? Do you think that's true or not? Are you haven't seen enough of what's going on, or do you feel like this is still one of the top 5 coaches that matter and we're just it's growing pains, or what do you think?
I mean, I guess I feel like he's definitely feel like he matters, and I trust, in I kind of haven't seen enough to make a good judgment, but I feel like I know who he is, so I feel like I've been pleasantly surprised by he's letting Duarte play, he's letting him take the last shot, he's letting him do this, he's letting him not just Duarte but like that he's experimenting with lineups. Like I loved Frank Vogel as the Pacers coach, and I wish they never would have let him go. But that was one thing I didn't like, was that he just, he was sticking with what he had and just ran it. He was, starting Hibbert when Hibbert was broken, and in the playoffs, and that was sort of one of the things I the way I see it is there's certainly a lot to be said about consistency, but doesn't mean you can't make a change at any point, and but I what I'm hoping and what I feel like I'm seeing is Carlisle, with the lineups and rotations as he's trying things out, and this is when you do them. It's at the beginning of the season, and give people opportunities that now that they're not going to get, in the playoffs or, later into the season. And I like that I am seeing these things, and it, like I said, the little stuff like just inbounding the ball,
Right.
that's not like much of a concern anymore.
Here's a very simple example, but in that Milwaukee game, we're down 18 with 5 or 6 minutes left. And, he just puts in the bench. And first of all, he knows that we're on a back-to-back and we got to go, get on a plane and go to Minnesota. And so we might as well get the minute getters some rest. But he also is going to give, guys a chance to show something. Brissett goes out and hits 3 of 5 and looks fantastic. This guy's trying to see the floor. He gave Isaiah Jackson some burn, our rookie, who is an athlete but pretty raw, and let him defend Giannis Antetokounmpo and put him out there, but only in small stretches. He didn't want to destroy his confidence by getting destroyed by an MVP, but he got some big rebounds. He had a pretty good block on him, but he still got called for the foul. Because he's a rook, and there was some some body contact, I guess. But he's got to learn that. I think one of his moves in college was to let guys go by him and then blindside block them. You can't do that in the NBA. The athletes are too good, and he's got to learn that stuff. I mean, you can't do that to Giannis Antetokounmpo. And so my point is, last year Bjorkgren would have played all of our starters until the very last minute. He never took guys out, even if we were losing by 30. And Carlisle is creating competition in the locker room by doing that. He's giving guys confidence. He's giving guys burn. He's also preparing his team for a back-to-back. And those seem like obvious coaching decisions, but that wasn't going on our team last year.
Yeah, no, it's. I feel like we've just got a good baseline to start with. This it's rational things are happening, and I like Carlisle's. He says it's kind of prickly. I like, I feel like a little more, sort of a little more honesty coming out of Bjorkgren was just.
Oh yeah.
It was just he was very polished, but
it was so much polished that it was Pollyannish. It just seemed like he wasn't living the same world that we were all living in.
Right.
And like I said, this is my one regret because we were really excited about a new coach and we wanted to give this guy a new opportunity. We talked about, let's take a risk on a young coach that can be around for 8 years and build this team to where it needs to be. And they looked forever. They did a ton of interviews and they found this guy. And I think we all tried to stay positive, but listening to the interviews with Mark Boyle and Bjorkgren, I got the sense very early on that Boyle was utterly unimpressed. And also Bjorkgren could never say anything besides, this is the greatest team ever in the history of the world, and we are just the greatest team ever, and we're working really hard, and it's all going to come together, and don't worry about it, guys. Mm-hmm. And, Carlisle comes out, and he's like, yeah, we sucked at defense, and this isn't okay. And it's my fault or it's their fault, but we're going to get better at it. That's just what he does. And I appreciate that honesty.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is, like, whatever. They can do whatever they want to do, but as a fan, I just quickly lose. Like, I was like, oh, it's not worth watching his interviews because he doesn't.
No, it's not.
It's just not. Like,
because he wasn't going to say anything.
He wasn't going to say anything. So, if that's what his purpose, if that's what his plan was, that's what he did. But, I'm not going to be there for that because I know it's not going to matter.
Well, we talked about Vogel's cult of positivity, right? But it was a realistic cult of positivity.
He saw what we saw.
Yeah, exactly.
But he
would try to stay upbeat and get everybody on the same page. But we lost. Let's go win the next one, rah rah, guy. But it wasn't like, don't look behind the curtain because everything's fine, which is what I felt like was happening all last season, and it became really frustrating. And that team was hard to watch, honestly.
No, for sure.
Because it didn't give a crap.
I would agree with that.
Now, these same guys, and what Carlisle said in the preseason was the way to build identity is the easiest way to build identity. I don't want to misquote him. I'm actually making up what he said, but I'm pretty sure it was something like the easiest way to build identity is through a defensive effort. And I was really nervous when I didn't see it in the first few games, but this team scraps. They're getting pretty good at making other people's lives hard. We had a big free throw discrepancy in that Milwaukee game, and Carlisle just went after the rest, got a tech for it. He's sticking up for his guys. He believes in what we're doing, and if our guys are playing hard, he will, he'll take a fine or throw himself in front of a ref or whatever to make that happen. If he believes in what we're doing,
spill a Coke.
Spill a Coke, right? Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, if he believes we're playing hard, he will go to the mat for us, but he's also not going to shy away if you're not playing hard. He's going to tell you. He's going to sit the entire starting lineup. That happened while you were gone. He sat the entire starting lineup for the basically third and fourth quarters of I think it was the Charlotte game, and he just let the B team play because they actually played hard, and they got us all the way back into the game, and we missed the 3-pointer to tie the game at the end. But we were down by 20, 30. I mean, it looked like we didn't even belong. They were ripping us apart, and we had a 17-point...
Charlotte?
Yeah. And we had a 17-point deficit, and he brought in the bench, and they played their hearts out and got us all the way back within 3 near the end. And we had a shot to tie the game, and the press asked him afterwards, like, you've got rested starters over there. Did you think about bringing them in for that last shot? And he's like, no, that was never going to happen. These are the kids that earned it. There's the ones that got us back into this game. They deserve that shot. I appreciate that from my coach.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Maybe you lose that game, but who learned a lesson? The starters learned a lesson that if you don't play hard, you don't see the floor. The bench sees a lesson, which is if you play hard, you get to play in the big lights in the big minutes. And he's not going to bring in the starters to try to win that game. He's going to make that statement mean something.
Right.
Because that's going to pay dividends down the end when if he brought in Brogdon and he had a 3 and we go on to win that game, that's one win versus what that means for the team top down for the rest of the season.
I feel like this is like what we needed to start, to have like serious consideration for for just doing well. Just having, the Pacer fans, like, you expect that the team is gonna, you're gonna make the playoffs. Like, that's the expectation every year. And I mean, I know we're below 500 right now, but you mentioned that last show that, our stats, show that we should have a better record than we
Which
do.
ideally means that will start to unfold.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, it means that we're going to underachieve all season. But I think what the stats are bearing out is that this means we're going to start to win more games than we lose, and we're going to catch up.
Right.
It's the NBA is tough this year. I mean, there's a lot of really good teams. There's a lot of competition.
Oh, and Golden State's just back, apparently.
Oh, they are all the way back.
Yeah.
And they don't even have Clay yet. And
Right.
they look like, a championship team. The Lakers are 500, but that they can turn it on. Brooklyn's not playing that well, and they still have a good record. You mentioned that Chicago should probably fold up the tent and go home, but they're an incredibly well put together basketball team. The Washington Wizards.
Yeah, what the hell?
Well, they traded Westbrook away for like four competent basketball players that all have rings. So yeah, it's kind of working out for them. I don't know. It's a tough season to be working on.
Yeah,
figuring out who you are, and that's what we're doing. But we do have some roster continuity. I'm hope that we can show some stuff down the stretch and build on this. I always want to be vying for the playoffs. I always want to be playing in the second round of the playoffs. I always want to be playing in the third round of the playoffs. We got really spoiled as young men when this team was more likely to go to the Eastern Conference Finals than it was to miss the playoffs. I mean, that was the stat for many, many years of this team. That's, of course, what I want, but if that's not what's going to happen this season, I want to at least be able to see the shape of what that's going to look like in the coming years. And
yeah,
I'm glad Carlisle's my coach right now, despite our record.
Right. And I want to just see building towards that. I want to feel like we're moving in the right direction, which I just feel so far that we are. But last year I didn't feel that way. But I would like to just get that sense that like things are getting better. And I want to, TJ Warren should hopefully be back soon. And
yeah, so they're going to actually, by the time you're listening to this, they'll have done another evaluation on him. I believe it's Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So we'll get a better sense. So by the time you listen to this, you might know more than we do. But it sounds like, we're moving in the right direction with TJ Warren. He's a walking bucket. I mean, he just is. Just think what he's going to do for our offense and defense. Remember how hard how surprised we were how hard he worked on defense for us 2 years ago? Not last year, of course, because he was gone, and he was out, and also nobody played defense on this team last year. But I just remember being surprised by his length and desire to give trouble on the defensive end. And so, I'm just excited to have him back. It also gives you a ton of flexibility because you've brought in this Duarte kid who can play 2 and 3. Your TJ Warren can play 3 and 4, which gives you more flexibility with the Sabonis Turner. It also gives you more flexibility with McConnell, and basically it just solves a lot of our rotation problems.
Right.
I mean, him coming back creates a really strong 8-man rote. Just that it's that easy. And I'm not saying that we don't need to depend on all the guys throughout the season. I mean, I need a lot of Keelan Martin in my life right now, and I want some, the sauce, some O'Shea Brissett, and some Goga to continue to succeed. I mean, it's a long season, but if you can get TJ Warren back and get some chemistry, you start looking at an 8-man rote that can go and play in the playoffs, and maybe make, do some damage. You look at the games we've played this last week, dominating Chicago in Chicago, not really having much trouble with Toronto, basically a pissed off LeBron James away from winning that game. And then, competitive first half against the defending champions. It just felt a lot more like the kind of team we can be moving forward, and maybe, I think we're going to continue to get better.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I have that feeling right now, and I'm hoping just keep that in line. I want to, like I said, T.J. Warren, having him back, it's going to change. Like it's any change like that. It's not gonna just come in and just be super easy. But he was fantastic. And
how many minutes have we had with our ideal starting lineup? It's like 25 minutes or something like that. I don't know. I don't have the stat in front of me. But Malcolm Brogdon, LeVert, T.J. Warren, Miles Turner, and Sabonis is what the back office tried to make our starting lineup, and they have played exactly like 15 minutes together or something like that.
Right?
It's stupid. And so, to see what that looks like, and then again that Duarte, Justin Holiday, who seems to be just really a team leader right now.
Mm-hmm.
He just seems to be a glue guy, and he's hitting his 3-pointers, but he's also just seems to be the guy that's talking in the huddles. The guys that people are talking to about where they're supposed to be. Love that guy. Huge Justin Holiday fan. And then a really good rookie, and then guys like Keelan Martin and Torrey Craig, who are fighting for their NBA careers and are playing really well. So, yeah, it's a likable team. I think if we start winning, you'll get a bunch of bandwagon fans.
Fine, whatever, man.
No, it'd be great. And because if you listen to the Undebeatables, you know where the phrase bandwagon fan comes from. So,
Sure
if not,
do.
check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man. I don't know. I'm happy, somewhat pleasantly surprised. This season. I guess I'm not happy about the standings. Like a couple times of the season we were like early, but we were like.
We started 1-5, I believe.
Yeah, I mean we're like I'm looking at the Eastern Conference standings, and I was like, yeah, we're well out of the playoffs at this point.
We still are, sir. We still
are. But no, I mean I think we can at least see the playoffs from where we are. Before we were.
You can see Russia from your house.
Yeah, for sure. That is not a new reference, by the way.
Most of our listeners have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
Because they're all 18.
If you don't know what that means, you can Google it and be unimpressed.
I would just like to let you know that the Pacers are currently 13th in the East. They are 6 games back from first. The Nets are in first. The Heat are in second. The Wizards are in third. The Bucks fourth. They are on a 7-game win streak as of today. Who knows what's going to happen after this? The Bulls, which we put the smackdown on. The Hornets, which apparently have our number. And then you can start to see where we're only 3 games away from the Knicks, the Hawks, the Celtics, the Cavs, the Sixers, which I predicted would be a flaming dump, and the Raptors, who we just beat. So, but we are only right now have a ranking better than the Pistons and the Magic, who are way worse than us, and we just lost to the Pistons. So I don't, I don't want to say we've got it all figured out, Joe. We're 9-13, so.
But I think
by the time you listen to this, we're probably 10 or probably 11-13 or something like that.
Great. Well, this is what I'm saying to myself today, and then if it gets worse, then we'll revisit that.
I believe that we will dig ourselves out of this. Like I said, we're coming up to an easy stretch. I think we're starting to play really well. 10 games ago, we were the 27th, 28th defense in the league, and now we're the 15th, which means we're playing top 5 defense in the league right now to get that number up. So, and when you look at a game like Chicago where we put the offense and the defense in the same game, we're pretty much unstoppable. So, just got to figure out how to do that every night.
Great. I feel like we're on the cusp.
Hey, you build towards that, right? That's what's coach building towards.
We're turning the corner, right?
I think this week is a turning the corner. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I will admit that 2 weeks ago I thought we were turning the corner, and then we had one of the worst weeks I've ever seen of a basketball team ever have. We've been doing this show for how long? What, 35 years? I don't think I've ever
7 years.
I don't think I've ever seen a week as bad as 2 weeks ago. But we're back, baby. We're back.
Okay. It is hard to. It is like frustrating when it's like, you finally like get the things done you got to get done, and you sit down. The game's already started, and you sit down. And you're like, oh, we're down by 25.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well.
And it's Detroit.
Right. Exactly. I'm like, did I miss something? I didn't miss something.
Why am I a fan of this team? No. We're always a fan of this team because they're good guys. They're playing hard. We got a good coach. One of the things that Harper and Jason were saying, I think off air, but I want to catch you up, is that they really don't like the rookie. They say 8-Track is a cool name, but they think he's a little bitch. They said that. Yeah. And they said that Carlisle couldn't coach his way out of a paper bag.
Ooh, I haven't heard words like that in a while.
I know. So hey, look, they're analysts. I guess they have some clout, but I just want to catch you up on what's been being said behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, that tracks. Like, that's,
Yeah.
pretty standard language for those guys. So, all right.
Welcome back, boys. Come, hurry back, or I'll just continue to say what you said.
I'm hoping to get the band back together this coming week. We'll see.
I don't think we need to do an Undegoogleable on that. Like, that's pretty straightforward, right? You just get the band back together.
Oh yeah, I took it pretty.
The band
literally.
broke up, and then we got it back together.
Yeah, pretty literally. Except it doesn't have to be an actual band, a band of people.
No, we'll see. Maybe we should Google it.
No, not that. I think we're good. I think it's pretty straightforward. And the thing is, for something like that, if we're wrong, it's gonna be like unsettling. It's gonna be something really sad.
Yeah. We most of the turns of phrase end up being about human torture.
Yeah, no, it's even the ones, especially the ones you don't think, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I get it. That's messed up. Why are humans so terrible?
I'm sorry that Undegoogleables is turning you into a cynic.
Yeah, not turning. Reaffirming.
Reaffirming.
Yeah.
Reaffirming cynicism.
Yeah.
Probably the name of the show.
Yeah.
No.
After we had a pretty positive conversation.
Really positive conversation.
Yeah. All right, John. I feel good about where you left me here, which is not a phrase I say often, but I think
Usually I leave you crying in the corner.
Yeah. No, yeah. I feel like I have a better understanding of where the team is, and it sort of tracks the stuff that I have seen. So I am cautiously optimistic for the rest of the season. So,
how many times, if I say 4 or 5 times out loud during a game, that was really good defense. That's what I've been doing lately with this team. I'm not saying they do it every time down, but right. It is making me exclaim that multiple times a game, whereas I don't even think that defense was a word used in the locker room last year. So
no, it was Miles Turner used it. He said, "I'd like to be DPOY. Can you guys help me?"
Can you just funnel everyone to me because you don't play defense?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, sad shout out. His block streak ended.
Oh no!
On Sunday night. He didn't get a block against the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh no. I guess I don't. Those are nice, but I mean,
he's still leading the league in blocks.
right. I don't feel that bad about
The
that.
team is still leading the league in passes at home.
Sure. Shout out to Bally's, who found a way to fill their scroller in the bottom corner.
Bally is just putting out a bunch of weird stats on the line, which I suppose is better than, I think Jason was saying this is better than like a bunch of college football scores that he doesn't care about.
Yeah, I would rather have these
Weirdo stats.
These really like niche corner stats that you're like, oh, I guess that's good. I don't know.
Yeah,
like
Pacers have the most passes at home as a team in the NBA right now.
Sure, per game, yeah. And the most.
I don't
touches.
think it's per game.
No, I thought
it's overall.
I thought no, it was the most per game.
Oh, okay.
It was like, which is gonna be it's gonna be the same thing at the end of the year, regardless. But
sometimes you have more blocks than you do have blocks per game, but whatever. Oh, but that's because you could play different games. You're right.
Right.
When everybody plays all the 82, then it's the same. But
right.
We are also, number one in touches.
Yeah.
What the hell does that mean, Joe?
I think what it means, we're moving the ball.
Okay. But only at home.
But only at home. But we've been playing well at home. So
Right, we have. Which is what we should do, which is what Indiana basketball is about. Welcome back, fans. Just a reminder, don't poke the bear.
Don't poke that bear. Because you know what happens. We've seen it in the playoffs before. But it was like it was Lance Stevenson's who it
He's
was.
blowing in his ear and stuff.
Yeah, then they, took us to town.
It was really funny, though.
Yeah. I mean, it was.
Let's bring back Lance.
He's
Lancey pants.
he's in the
Lancey pants.
I had a dream that he was playing the other night. This is no joke. I had a dream that he was playing for the Pistons, and they had a like fan section for him already. And on the broadcast, I think it was a dream. On the broadcast, they were talking about how the Detroit fans have really taken to him, and they know how to respect hard work. That's why they love him so much. So
Wow.
and
Joe.
and there was like artwork for his section with him, with like a stylized Lance head, and that was all in my dream.
Your obsession is deep.
No. So, but he was in the Denver farm team, right? Wasn't that?
You're the Lance
No,
follower.
he was playing in Grand Rapids. Who is with the Nuggets?
Is he still in the G League? Why is he not in the NBA?
I mean,
He's amazing.
I don't know. I don't get it.
Call up Lance's agent right now and fire him, and you become his agent right now.
Apparently, I would send him to Detroit, so that's not a good plan.
Well, Detroit's trying to lose. That's why they wouldn't sign him. Because
True.
Lance equals winning.
He's born ready. That's all I can say. All right, John. I am in a good place, so I think we should leave this conversation where it is, so I can
Sleep well tonight and not have
Yeah.
nightmares about Lance going to your a team you hate.
Yeah, I'd like if we could be surprised by surprise press release, Lance is back, and I'd be okay with that. And
Sweet dreams, my friend.
And don't we have some don't we have some rights to some players in the EuroLeague that we're never going to do anything with?
I think that used to be the case. I'm not sure we have any right now.
All right. Anyway, make it happen. All right, let's get out of here. I'd like to thank the fans for listening to this 2-man performance.
I think that's too much. I think that's an unfair statement. I'm sorry. I've got a lot of performance enhancing drugs in me right now.
Okay. We're on social media. You can hit us up on Twitter. We are at Undebeatables, Facebook.com/The Undebeatables. Our website is TheUndebeatables.com. There's a contact form there. You can find us and hit us up on email. Shout out at TheUndebeatables.com. And you can buy some things from us on the website/store.
For the architect, Donnie Walsh, and our once and always coach, Bobby Sick-Leonard. Turn out the lights, the party's over.
It's a surprise ending. I like that. I felt like I was in a car and someone just like slammed on the brakes when I wasn't looking, you know. That's how you ended your song.
Yeah, that's how I end most of my sexual encounters.
Okay.
Turn it off.
Yep. Where's that stop button?
It's next to the go all night button.
Oh no. No. I'm just getting back into action. You gotta.
I know.
Ease me back in.
Shout out to your wife for holding on to the cat and the baby at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I can't tell
Yeah.
which one's which. I don't know who's crying.
Yeah. It's a fun game.
Cat or baby.
Cat or baby.
Sign up now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna go pro. There's like you hear it across the house sometimes, and I'm like, if that's a child, something is horribly wrong. And you're like, I'm gonna go look. I'm pretty sure it's a cat. I'm gonna go look.
Just to make sure.
Yeah. Just to make sure I can be mad at the right cat.